Speaking of John Beal, welcome back to Great Day St. Louis. We count on our roofs to handle every season. You know, we talk a lot about chimneys, and that chimney's attached to your roof too. So heat, wind, rain, storms, everything. Yet most of us don't think about it until it's too late and we got a leak. However, you should regularly have your roof inspected, which is what we're talking about on this Tuesday morning with Kathy Gregorio. She's from John Beal Roofing. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Good
Great to be back.
We've had some storms this year. We've had some hail. A lot of times, I would say more often than not, that's what can cause our leaks.
Sure.
Sometimes it could be aging or whatever else. But as a homeowner having a roofing company come over to inspect your home, what should we expect to happen during that visit?
So first of all, I would suggest you want to make sure that it's an established company. You want a
Sure.
roofing company that's not just knocking on your door and jumping up on the roof.
And there's none more established than John Beal.
No, and we love it. We've been doing it for a long time, and it's been awesome. So yeah, when the homeowner opens that door to us, we want to make sure that we're letting them know we're going to do a full inspection. We're going to start on the ground, get up on the roof, look for any sort of hail damage. Are they having any issues? You know, is there a leak that's happening that we should be aware of? Those are all really helpful parts of the inspection, and just a thorough inspection.
And as you do these inspections, do you ever find that people have issues that they didn't realize they had? Like, obviously, if you got a big stain in your ceiling, you know something's going on. But a lot of times this can happen with no visible impact for a while.
Absolutely. You know, there's things that I will see when I'm up on the rooftop. You know, sometimes a homeowner may not realize their flashing may be coming up, you know, around their chimney, or that their chimney may be getting some cracks in there. I was on a home even just yesterday, and the chimney cap around it was pushed to the side, you know, so when those heavy rains are coming in, it's going right in there into their home. So yeah, I see those things all the time.
And if you wait too long, I mean, the inspection doesn't cost you anything, but if you wait too long, you're going to be in thousands of dollars for repair and then the roof.
Absolutely. You know, I suggest if there is a big storm, if you're not sure, if your home's not been inspected for a while, call us. There are free inspections. We'll come out and take a look at your home to make sure it's in good shape. It never hurts to have that done. The important thing too, when you are there, looking at other areas of the home as well. You know, what's happening on the interior. You'd mentioned maybe a stain on the ceiling.
Right.
Sometimes things aren't noticed. And I'm like a little raccoon. You know, I like to also make sure that I get up in that attic and see what's happening in the attic space as well. That's really important.
Speaking of the attic, ventilation is an issue with roofing, and that I don't think that really people think about very much. But if we have a problem with ventilation, what would it be, and how do you approach it?
There can be all sorts of issues with ventilation in the home. I think that there are some basics that not all homeowners know, but if you have a ridge vent on your home, and I'll probably talk about that more coming up, but if you have gable vents, you want to make sure those gable vents are sealed, you know, that you have that closed so that it works properly. I was just in an attic recently, actually a couple of attics, where I got into the attic and the piping from the bathroom is just vented into the attic itself, so it's not going out of the home. All of that moisture, you know, the showers, all of that stuff is going into your attic, and it affects your insulation.
But that's another thing that if you hadn't been up there inspecting, the homeowner would have never known about it. It may have been a previous homeowner that did that. You're unaware of it. It's not to code. You're going to have problems when you go to sell the home. So all of that can come out in an inspection.
Absolutely, it's really important. Yeah, we want to make sure that we remedy that for the homeowner and get it corrected.
Yeah, thank you so much. Call John Beal Roofing now for a free estimate. The number 314-429-6000. Now, for more information, you can also find them on the web at johnbeal, B-E-A-L, roofing.com.
I learned so much in that conversation, and I am blown away, Kathy, that you are on roofs.
I talked about this with her last time she was here.
Oh
She's a little stud.
I love it. Yeah. I can't even climb a ladder. I'm afraid of heights. You go, girl. Thank you very much. You too.